Hello? 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 Oh, here we go. Okay, so here I am. I am Christiane Knight. You might know me as the author of the Illyrian series set in Baltimore. I have three books in the series: In Sleep You Know, Cast a Shadow of Doubt, and A Third Kind of Madness. You can pick up all of those books at christianeknight.com, or you can just hang out with here with me today during my office hours, which is a new thing that I've started. Um yeah, I just come and hang out here for an hour and people can join me and ask questions or not. I mean, it's being recorded. So if you can't make it live today, you can watch it later and see what all I have babbled about. I have a very, very loose script as it is, which is basically I sat down beforehand and wrote out some things that I might want to talk about if there aren't any questions. Um, Either way is fine with me because I am very good at talking. um, I do say a lot, but that's a thing. So, what I wanted to talk about today was, let's see, um, talking about paying my editor this week, which is really exciting. So, one of the first things that I got to do for myself was I hired an editor on my own. Now, obviously, I have had all of my works professionally edited in the past, but I have always used an intermediary to do so. I used to work with Three Ferns Book Company, which was a service that provided a bunch of different things, including hiring an editor for me and make setting up that communication with them. That once they got the book and everything, we communicated with each other, but they did the process of vetting for me. They also handled things like putting together my book cover and doing interior formatting. All of these things I'm going to be doing for myself from now on, at least in the immediate future. So this was my first step towards that. It's super exciting. So my editor's name is Fiona. She's really awesome. I worked with her on A Third Kind of Madness and had a really great experience with it. It's hard to find editors sometimes that really get your vision, your voice, everything. So being able to do that, it was just really a relief to be able to work with her again. Um, it took a little while for me to raise funds to be able to pay her because paying editors is not cheap. None of this is cheap, right? And that's the big problem with self-publishing is that you don't have somebody footing all the bills for you. You have to do it all yourself and you don't get paid those little checks sent to you as royalties from a publisher. You get it sent from KDP and other places that put out your books, but it's not the same kind of process, and you don't get any money up front when you publish. So all of that money has to come out before anything else happens. Before you even have a book in your hands, you're paying money, and raising money for that is a process. Some people use Kickstarter or Indiegogo to raise that money. Some people bust ass and sell a lot of stuff or use money from their day jobs to fund those kinds of things. I was lucky to do some ass busting and also to get some backing from my mom because she's awesome and I will pay her back over time as I accrue money from that, from the publishing process. But in the meantime, I can say that I can pay my editor. And that means that A Small Light in the Darkness will be going to the editor probably the beginning of next week. And once that process starts, it's all downhill from here in theory. Like I said, I still have to do the book cover and the formatting for the interior, but one step at a time. The editing process is something I am used to. uh, I really enjoy it. Some people don't enjoy editing, but I love it because I feel like the editing process is a way to take a story that's really great and then sort of just modify it and refine it down into the true essence of what it is. I love that, right? I think that that is one of the essential parts of writing a book because at the end you have this really clean, beautiful product that reflects everything you wanted to have in the story. Again, in theory, because not all editors will get that for you. I mean, but the goal is to have that happen. And I've been really lucky that I felt pretty confident about all my books. And as time has gone on and I've learned how to work with an editor better, my books have improved. So that is something if you are an aspiring author, um, that's something to think about. Your first editing experiences may be a little fraught or difficult, but as time goes on, you will find that they smooth out. Every editor is different. If you find an editor that you like, try to work with them all the time because they are gold. Oh, it, it's just it's basically the process. For those who don't know, who haven't done this, the process is like this. You take your book, your manuscript, right? You take it and you refine it down to the best of your ability before you send it to your editor. So you go through and you look for any typos, you look for anything that might be egregious, any words that are repeats that come up too close, anything that doesn't feel like it needs to belong there. You just do like your really best job at editing it from someone who is inside that story already. And this happens after you've written your manuscript and then you let it sit, right? Your first draft, you write it, then you let it sit for a while usually. It's really recommended to do that because you need to get space away from your writing. Then you go back and you edit it, you revise it. And the revision process can take a couple of passes. Usually it takes me 2 to 5 passes to really feel confident about it. And part of that is because, again, you start to live inside that book and you stop seeing things. You stop seeing the mistakes, you stop seeing typos, you stop seeing plot holes, things like that. So you need to like take breaks in between there. At least I do. I recommend that people do that. It's why writing a book can be a long process because if you speed it up, if you try to rush through it, you can miss things that will affect the quality of your book, the solidness of it. So once you've done that, right? Once you've gone through your revisions and you feel like your book is really solid, then you send it off to your editor. And there are different kinds of editors. I mean, there's proofreaders, there are copy editors, there are developmental editors. You obviously, if you're working with a developmental editor, you would send it off for them to look at before you feel really solid about it, because this is where the whole point of it is they're helping you develop the story and making it the best story it could be. I've never worked with really with a developmental editor. All my stories come out of my own head. What my editors have done for me has been copy editing, line editing, and also a little bit of advice here and there, which has been helpful. But mostly it's about making the lines clear, the paragraphs clear, not so much the actual plot. That's up to me. I think developmental editors are awesome. If I ever felt the need and had the wherewithal to be able to work with a developmental editor, I would totally do that because I think it would be a really interesting partnership to have happen. I've seen and I know of many books, many famous books from famous authors that have been improved by working with developmental editors. I've just never had that chance, that opportunity to do that. And I've always felt pretty solid about my stories once they're written. There's a sidebar to that about how I write stories, but we'll put that on the side for now and come back to it maybe. Anyway, so like you send it off to the editor and they go through and they make all of their changes. Some editors do it all and then send it to you, and then you go through and make your changes, and it goes back and forth from there. Other editors will send it to you a couple of chapters at a time, which is how Fiona and I do it, which I really like, um, because it gives me something to work on. I'm not just sitting there feeling sad and weird about waiting. Like I don't want to be sitting there twiddling my thumbs while the editor is doing all this stuff going, "Oh god, is it terrible? Do they hate it? Are there a million mistakes?" This way I get to see it all right up front. And after a while you get to know, you anticipate what the edits are going to be because you start to get the feel for what they're seeing and what you haven't seen in the corrective process. And that's always funny because like, you'll get it back and you're like, "Well, I know this is gonna happen," and, like, it's so true, like, there'll be this paragraph they mark that's like, "This is awkward." I'm like, "I knew it. I knew it." But again, it's having that distance from your own writing. You a lot of times you will know that something is not quite right, but you go with it because, like, "No, this is what I felt," and then the editor will be like, "But is it really?" No, you're right. And between the 2 of you, you can come up with a way to rework it that makes a lot more sense and is a lot more cohesive. It's such a funny thing. Like, I can't tell you how many times that's happened where something has come back and I've just been like, "Okay, you're right. You're right. I knew it." You know? Oh, anyway, so these edits will go back and forth, depending on your editor and how many passes they agree to do for the price that you're paying. Um, my experience has been some editors will go back and forth a couple of times with you to help you work stuff out. Other ones, they just do it, they edit it, and they dump it in your lap and like, okay, it's up to you to keep them or not. I like ones who talk with me. I like who if there's a question about why they thought this thing needed to be changed, I like to hear their reasoning if I don't see it already. Not because I want to argue, but because I'm learning that way. Um, and sometimes I will listen to their reasoning and still dismiss it because I see something that they don't, or I'm stubborn or whatever. But most of the time I agree with them because that's their job. They know what they're talking about. And I'm a pretty good writer, but I make mistakes, and every good writer makes mistakes. And sometimes they can see more clearly than you when something would be more effective if you reworded it a little bit, um, or if you've used the word, I don't know, feign too many times in like a paragraph or a couple of paragraphs or across the whole thing. They have a clearer eye than you do about your work, which is why they're so important. And when I see people that put out books that are self-edited without any other editorial process, I'm always like, wow, I don't think I could be that self-confident because I know that whereas I'm okay. I mean, I'm a pretty good communicator. There is a magic to working with someone else to have them look over your words and say, "Well, if you tweak this a little bit, it would be so much more effective." Or you've slipped out of tense or this or whatever. Those things matter. They matter to how your book is received professionally. So it really is, if there's only one thing you can afford to spend money on when it comes to putting your own book out, it is getting an editor. Number 1, hands down. And you will hear me say this over and over again. I have a panel coming up where I'll be talking, and I know that's one of the very first things that I said. The things that you can't cut corners on are editing, typesetting, book cover, because those are all the things that will make an impression on a reader before they ever get into the meat of your story. If your book is rife with lots of misspellings, or it has inconsistent tenses, readers pick up on that. They also pick up on awkward sentences and writing, things like that. If the book has a bad cover, they may get past that. Some readers don't care. They just want the story. But some readers will be put off if your cover looks unprofessional. And that doesn't mean that your cover has to be an artistic masterpiece. It just means it has to be put together well. You're better off having no art than bad art, in my opinion. And that's speaking as an artist. Like, no art is bad art, but if your art does not fit your story, for example, or if your art looks like you drew it and then scanned it in and you are not an artist, these things make an impression. Anyway, the typesetting is also important because you want ease of reading. You want people to be able to read your book and understand what they're getting into, like, through the story without having to struggle if it's not aligned properly, if your sentences don't flow properly on the page, if it's set up in an awkward way, if you don't have chapter headings that like link back inside your book or whatever. Those things all matter. Some matter less than others, but they all do matter. But number one, editing, editing. Anyway, I've talked enough about that. I spent a whole 15 minutes talking about editing. Wah! Um, well, let's see. I'm going to skip around a little bit since we are already talking about books and making books as a self-published author. I'm going to talk about stuff that I have been doing to keep the books selling lately. Um, it's been a struggle lately, folks. It's hot. People going on vacation and they're thinking about summer reads, sure, but not really. Like right now, things are a little weird, especially in the US, but all over the world. People are worried about money. People are worried about what the future holds. It's harder to sell books right now. There's been some pushback on social media about how can you talk about selling books, about what you're writing when everything is burning and the world is going to hell. And I'm here to tell you that this is the most important time to do that. I know I keep saying this, I keep talking about it, but it really is important. Art gets us through these times. Art helps us express the things that we may not be able to talk about so easily otherwise. It gives us hope. It gives us an escape sometimes. Sometimes it gives us new ways to think about these challenges. These are all important things, right? These are all important. Uh, it it's just so necessary. Even when we have nothing, as humans, we make art, and there's a reason for that. It is a natural way for us to express our emotions, especially the things that we can't get out in other ways. And as an artist by trade, a writer, an artist, a musician, we need to eat. We need to eat. We need to pay bills. I can't send a copy of my book to the IRS and go, "Here you go. This is it. This is how I'm paying." They don't accept art for payment, so I have to sell my art in order to pay those bills. And I really, really freaking hate the hustle. I hate the whole concept of it. I don't wanna be out here shucking my books. I don't wanna be out here doing a song and dance like, "You need an urban fantasy to make your life better." This is a thi I I hate that. I mean, in a perfect world, which obviously we don't have right now, but in a perfect world, people would just stumble upon my books and buy them, and I would write more. And that would be the end, right? Like, people would find my books, they would love them, they would buy them, or pass them on to people who love them if they don't love them, and I would write more books and talk about writing books, and everybody would be happy, the end. But that's not how it works. I have to talk about my books. I have to tell people about them. I have to talk about the things that I'm creating in order to get people to know that they're here, because advertising is freaking expensive and it's all part of this stupid capitalist just grift that makes people have to sell their souls in order to just get by. I don't have money for big ads, and even if I did, I don't look at that stuff. Most other people probably don't either because we're all so sick of it. We're sick of being advertised to. I'd rather talk about the things in my books in a way that makes it so that people don't feel like they're obligated to buy them if they don't want to, but we can have a conversation that's based around the topics in my books. And if people are interested, they'll pick them up. And if not, that's cool. We had a great conversation. So, like, that's the kind of thing that I've been doing. I've been talking about the topics, I've been talking about the tropes, I've been talking about why I write about Baltimore, on Blue Sky and Instagram and other places. and I have been doing these office hours, which, it's new right now, so it's not being strongly attended, but that's okay. It takes time for people to catch on to stuff, but I have a long history of doing well with video when it comes to the art that I do. Before I wrote books, I was working solely as a fiber artist, and I used to do videos all the time where I would talk about techniques and give advice to other creatives who wanted to be inspired but didn't believe in themselves. Um, I'm really big into this kind of, I hate to use the word coaching because it's been so maligned and so misused, but I'm like a cheerleader for creative folks. I will give you that "Rah, rah, you can do it" speech if you need that, or I will do critique for you and tell you what you could probably improve on and what you're doing great if you need that. Or I can point you out to other people who can help you who are more experienced than I am if that is what I think you need. And I've been doing this for a really long time. So, I mean, like, I've been a fiber artist since the early 2000s, and then I went into writing as more of a career when I got sick and I couldn't really do fiber arts like I was before. So the same skills all apply. Creativity is creativity, whether it's visual arts or writing or music or anything that requires an artistic eye. The tips are really similar. You have to believe in yourself, number 1. You have to believe in what you're doing, and you have to be willing to explore and be ready to refine your skills. And you have to be willing to build community because those things are all the things that support you as an artist. And even if you're listening to this and you're just interested in being a reader, this still applies to you, whatever your creative output is, because we're all creative people, all of us. Don't let them tell you you're not. You may think, oh, I can't do anything. I don't make any. Yes, you do. You just don't realize it because so many creative arts have been devalued in this society. I challenge you to take some time and think about this if you're one of those people that think you don't do anything creative, because you do. I guarantee it. And if you want to talk to me about that and I want me to help you figure out what is your creative thing, please message me after this. I will happily have this conversation with you because I believe in you and I know that you're creative. See, that's an example of the kind of thing that I have been doing for a long time because I believe in it. I've seen it, and I use this kind of talk to get people interested in my books, sure, but also to get people to start opening their eyes to all of the creative beauty that's around them, because that is what gets us through these tough times, is embracing that kind of creative beauty and honestly just the unnoticed beauty that's all around us. It's really common for people to miss the little tiny beautiful things that surround us because our heads are down. We're plowing through the day because we have to. We have to pay the bills, we have to take care of the kids, we have to take care of the house. It's a drudge, and you forget to look up. You forget to take a pause and notice the cliched roses, notice the little tiny mushrooms growing up underneath the tree in your front yard, or the little flowers growing up in the crack of the sidewalk, or the birds doing a little stupid mating dance down the road, like fluttering around. You forget about how delightful it is to hear people compliment each other, like, just off the cuff. Like, okay, I'm gonna sidebar and tell you a story from yesterday. Yesterday, I went out on a date with my partner, Christopher. We live in different cities, so we only get to see each other about once a month. And we often go to this place called Our House, which is short for Remington House. Um, it is a food court type place. It's a really nice place to sit around and just, snack on stuff and hang out. We draw, we write, or we just chat and hold hands or whatever. But anyway, I was in the bathroom, or I was headed into the bathroom, and this really nice woman who had her kid, who was probably under a year old, super cute kid. She stopped and she complimented me on my hair, which was always a nice thing to have happen. It always makes me feel really good. She didn't have to do that, but she was super excited about it. We talked about it for a couple of minutes. And I went in the stall and then I heard another woman come out and she had a baby and they started talking. They didn't know each other. They just started talking, complimenting each other's kids and talking about how pretty each other was and talking about childbirth and like making sure to take care of yourself as a new mother. It was just the sweetest conversation. They didn't know each other. They knew nothing about each other other than they were both, younger women with new kids and just full of life and vitality, but also aware that being a mother wears you down. It's exhausting and you need to take care of yourself, and they both wanted to make sure the other one knew this. And like it's such a stupid little conversation to overhear because it's a really normal everyday thing, except for it's the kind of thing that makes me stop and remember this is what humanity really is and can be, and we forget because we're so used to having all the bad things shoved in our faces. Media constantly talks about all the bad things, social media, the news, journalism in general. I mean, that's what, if it bleeds, it leads, right? So that's what we're constantly seeing. It's much more rare to see the positive stories. Thank goodness there is a good chunk of social media that does have positive stories, but still it's different when you observe it in real time. And we miss those moments because we get so focused on just moving ahead, just trying to get through the day, just trying to get through the work, trying to get home, trying to like relax once we're home, trying to get to bed. And like you do that every day, and all of a sudden you look up and it's been a month and you can't think of anything beautiful that's happened because you've just been doing the grind. So, like, these conversations that I have that are centered on topics that my books talk about, but not necessarily centering my books. Yes, they bring attention to my books, but they also bring attention to things that I care about because I write what I care about. I care about this positive part of humanity that is trying to make small incremental but important change in the world by being better people. Like that is a fantastic way for me to feel okay about talking about my books. And it makes me feel like I make a little bit of a difference by doing it. Um, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just rambling on about this, but it really hit me. I was thinking about it last night. Actually, I was thinking about it while that conversation was going on about how important it is to highlight these kinds of conversations because they get so lost in the day to day. And they are what, when I think of the best of humanity, it's those little moments that I think of. It's not it's not the great savior, hero person coming in to save the day. I mean, yeah, it's important to save the day, it's important to have people come in, but, like, in reality, it's almost never one person saving the day. It's a bunch of people working together. It's a bunch of people who decided that they want the good version of humanity over the shitball version of whatever we've got going on now. We're the ones that make the change, and we have to make the change by tiny, important, little kind moments. Yeah. Anyway, so that is what I've been doing lately. Um, yes, it's trying to sell my books and keep my writing career going, but it's also fostering a positive environment where people can see better instead of seeing all of this the terrible things that are happening. We can focus on better things. Um, Someone asked me, how do we get through the dark times and continue to keep making art when this is this is just so overwhelming? It's crushing, right? Just the news just continues to crush us every day. How do I make art in this? And there's no simple answer to this. It's okay to feel like you can't for a while, but it's also really important to remember, like I've said before, art is resistance. Your joy is resistance. And taking care of yourself is resistance. You have to let them not win if you can. You can't let them crush you because you are the only thing standing between them crushing you and your solidness as a person and your solidness as an artist. Your determination, your your need to make art needs to be stronger than their need to crush you, I guess, is how I would put that. And I'm not saying that like assuming it's easy because I know it's not. I fight this every day. I have depression and anxiety. I have a huge, huge fear that I'm going to die because of what they're taking away from us. I rely on Medicaid to keep me alive. Um, I rely on Medicaid for the tests that I take for to make sure that my Crohn's disease doesn't advance and the medication that keeps my intestines from eating themselves and killing me. Am I scared? I'm terrified, but at the same time, I'm making plans. I am looking forward to what will come. I'm looking forward to the future because I have to. If I don't make plans for the future, then they win because they've succeeded in breaking me down and keeping me stuck in my house and keeping me small because that's what they want. They want us to be controlled, to be controllable and keeping us scared, keeping us fighting against these things in ways that put us into danger. Those are all ways that they control us. Not to say that we shouldn't fight against the things that keep us in danger. We should, but we have to know when we do it that that is a dangerous thing for us. And we can't let it become so overwhelming that we forget about all those small things that I was talking about too. So you have to keep making plans. You have to plan for the future. Do fun things for yourself and for your family and your loved ones. Write out goals for yourself, write out career goals, write out goals that are personal goals. Invest in your future. It's really important. You have to believe that there's a tomorrow. Because if you don't, there's no motivation to keep going. Even if that tomorrow ends up not looking like you hoped it would, there's always the next day and the next one while we fight back against all of this fascist bullshit that's coming down on us right now. Look for the acts of kindness. Look for those small acts and write them down. Do little voice memos where you tell yourself about them. Talk about them on video, whatever. Look for them, record them, go back to them when you're feeling really low. This is really important. You need to be reminded that not everybody is shitty and not everybody is to blame. Most of us are here at this point of time unwillingly. It's just the actions of a small group that got us here. Most people are kind. When you start believing that most people are not kind, that's where, again, you've given them the ability to control you because being afraid of other people, that's another one of their tactics. Support the art of others, support other people's creations. If you don't have money, that's okay. Talk about them, tell other people about them, tell them how much their art affects you. Just talk if you don't have money. If you do have money, please buy their art, buy their books, eh, buy them for other people, buy them for libraries. Write libraries if you don't have the money to buy them for libraries. Write libraries and suggest that those books show up. Talk to your local art galleries and suggest artists to them that they could contact. All these little things that you can do as an outsider outside of that artist and their sphere. There are so many little things that make a difference that they probably have done for themselves, but it makes more of an impact if other people who are not connected to that artist or that writer, that musician, speak up for them and say, "We want this. We really want this." Your strength, your importance in this cannot be underestimated. All of these things are support. It's not always money, although, yeah, money really does help. Um, if they have Patreons or Ko-fis or whatever, if you can support them that way, that's great. A lot of self-published small press magazines really need that help right now. A lot of them run off of Patreon, and you can go and support that, and you'll get like digital issues of their magazines, and you will help them out in the publishing process because it's expensive to publish, as I said earlier. It's the same for magazines as it is for books. This stuff is all really expensive. Yeah, all these little things. These will help keep you going as well as help other people keep going. Whew. So I've talked a lot about these things, and I'm gonna take a break and just talk about how the fact that I stuck my microphone on a stick that I have for I have a vase full of sticks and, like, dead flowers and a couple of stick weavings just all jammed in together, and I was looking for something to put this microphone on because I really like the microphone. I think it makes my voice carry a little bit better than any of the other ones I have except for my professional microphone, which is annoying to use. But if I put it on my shirt, it's a little far away from me and doesn't pick up quite as well. So I wanted to hold it up, but I didn't want to hold it up with my hand, so I stuck it on a stick. Um, yeah, maybe next time I'll have something fancier, but this is kind of cracking me up and is really kind of on brand for me. So I don't know. Mm. I've been talking so much, my mouth is dry. Please bear with me a second while I get a sip of my iced tea lemonade. Whew. Let's see. What else was I going to talk about today? I have blown through a lot of the topics that I had kind of typed out at the last minute. Um, well, I could talk about emergence, which is something I haven't talked about yet on video. It's very new, although it's been in the process for a while. It takes a long time to put together a curricula. So, what emergence is this thing that I have come up with as a teaching a collection of teaching curriculum based off of the things that I talk about randomly as a writer and artist to help you get started, to give you inspiration and cheer you on, but also to give you tips you can work with. Um, I talk about all aspects of self-publishing, and a lot of these things can be extrapolated to other arts as well because let's face it, usually if you're an artist, you're a multi you're you do lots of different arts. You can tell I've been talking for a while because I'm starting to stumble over my words. I'm going to read to you from the Ko-fi listing I have for it, which is where you can sign up. Move this little window out of the way, and you will see on my Ko-fi, which is at ko-fi.com/Three Ravens Press altogether. It's under Emergence, A Writing Life. And it says, this tier includes enrollment in Emergence, my ongoing class on creating a writing career that's authentic to you. Voice, style, authenticity, and craft. Those are just some of the writing topics that I'll be discussing through the lens of my own work and the work of others who inspire me. I'll also share my experience as I move through the stages of being a published author, including navigating the publishing process, advertising, events, and more as an indie author. And when you join this tier, you get exclusive content. You get access to my ongoing class, Emergence, which is on my website. And once you sign up through Ko-fi, I plug you into that. You get behind the scenes glimpses. You can make exclusive requests of me. You can ask me to talk about any topic that you're interested in, or you can get me aside, some private time with me where you can ask me questions directly or get me to critique your work or give you ideas about where you might want to head next. Anything you can think of that might pertain to your art, specifically your writing career, but also other writing. You also get to join my Discord community when you sign up for this. Um, it's really quiet right now. I mean, I have some people in there, they're not very chatty, but I would love to have more people there and talk. We have lots and lots and lots of sections for everything you can think of. Um, my books, your books, creating, writing in general, all those things. And I will give you shout outs on social media for the things that you create because I am cool like that. And also it's about what I believe in. Um, so yeah, if you sign up on Ko-fi, it's $7 a month. And then immediately will put you into the classes that I have on my website at 3ravens.net. No, that's the wrong one. ChristianeKnight.com. This is the problem. I start talking about the fiber arts. That's my fiber arts website, and things all get jumbled up. Um, ChristianeKnight.com. You'll see there. You can see like what the breakdown is, and in fact, let me pull it up, and I'll talk to you about that a little bit too. I type really slowly with one hand. Okay, moving my window around now to get to the courses page. So basically, what happens with the courses is that I fill in things as I talk about them first on Ko-fi. And again, like I said, this is new, so there's not a whole lot there, but you can go through and like read everything I've written on Ko-fi so far in this tier to start you out. And some of the things that I will talk about in this class, if I can find the curriculum button here. I'm trying to maneuver. There's a little pop-up screen. I'm using Riverside FM to record this as I also live broadcast it. So they put a little pop-up screen with my face on it, like I need to see my face, and I have to keep moving it around so that I can get to where I want to go on this. Anyway, oh look, there's the pop-up to get me to sign up to my own newsletter. Do I need that? I don't. I write them. I know what they say. So I will be talking about things like writing and editing and publishing and promoting your work and having the mindset you need to be to be doing this as an indie author and a creative in general, and how to build your career. So these are all things that I have learned on my own or through other people, but mostly through my own and experience because no matter what advice you get, that only gives you some ideas of what path you're walking, right? A lot of this comes through trial and error and experience. Lots of people will tell you things. And what's really funny to me, I've talked about this before too. What's really funny to me is the people that are out there that have writing courses and author business type courses. And then they're like, they're nobody. I mean, I'm not anybody either, but, like, they're really nobody, like, they got almost nothing out there. They don't have any digital footprint, really? You can look, I mean, like, I will show you everything I have. Um, I again, am nobody, but I talk a lot on panels, and I do a lot of event appearances, and I am very, very open and willing to show you everything that I do as an author and what I've tried and has worked for me and what I've tried and has not worked for me, but could work for you, and give you some test cases of where other people I know in the indie writing business and also the traditional writing business have tried things and where they've failed and where they've succeeded. Um, I'm the kind of person that when I get start to do something, I go in all the way, right? I don't half-ass anything. Um Well, that's not true. That's a lie. I do half-ass some things. But when it comes to stuff where I'm motivated like this, when I set my mind to something, I do it. And that means I go and I learn everything. Like, I read everything I can possibly read. I still, to this day, I read, like, even basic, "You're an author now, what do you need to do?" books. Because sometimes you'll find suggestions that you're like, "Oh, okay, maybe I'll try that." And sometimes you find things that you didn't do when you started out that actually work really well. But a lot of times, you know, they do or they don't. Um, I had a point here. I was so rambling that I kind of forgot it. Anyway, yeah, like, I will show you all those things because I know from my trial and error and from all of my research what has worked for me and what a lot of people will say because they're supposed to say it, but really doesn't work anymore. One of the things that I have learned in my time doing this is that things change quickly. The publishing industry, whether independent or traditional, is not the same as it was even just a couple of years ago. Social media changes all the time, and the standards that you can use on social media to reach people change all the time, rapidly. You have to keep up on all of this. And if I can help you skip those steps so that you're not constantly floundering around trying to figure it out, I would be totally happy to do that. It's hard to do it on your own. If you have somebody in your corner, that helps so much. I am currently asking in the chat. I'm trying to ask in the chat if there's questions because I'm trying to do this on my phone while I'm talking on this, and, like, the little keyboard is hard to, like, do like that. Okay, that popped up. Anyway, that's also my quick way of seeing if there is, chat anything chat happening. Oh, look, I can open chat through Riverside. That's so cool. Oh, that's just me. That's nice to know. I didn't know that it showed the live stream chat in Riverside. See, look, something I just learned that I can share with you. If you decide to use, if you ever decide to do videos like this and you want to use a third party connector, I have liked Riverside pretty well. I've tried a couple of other ones. They're fine, but I didn't know that it showed live the chat from YouTube live stream chat. And now I do. So my gain is your gain in this. Yay. Um, anyway, I want to be able to share all these things with you that I've learned, and, I'm very generous with any of the knowledge that I get. I don't hold back. I'm not a gatekeeper because I want us all to succeed, right? I wanna read your books. I wanna see your art. I wanna listen to your music. I wanna help you. That's always been my goal is I want to help other artists because other artists have helped me, other writers have helped me, other musicians help me. That's how we get through this. We all help each other. We all have to give each other that hand and pull each other up because someone has done it for you in the past. It's kind of like it's paying your dues, but it's your responsibility as an artist to help other artists because it's already so hard out here. So yeah, I mean, like, I'm asking $7 a month for emergence, but I also, like I said, I'm generous. I help people all the time. Don't feel like you have to pay me to come talk to me about stuff. I'm happy to mentor you if I can, and if I can't, to suggest to you people you could talk to about the things that you're asking about because we need to do that for each other. And that's really why I started these office hours in the first place. I wanted to have an open place where people could talk to me and feel safe about asking questions or just come and listen to me ramble if that's your bag. That's cool because I do that as you've seen. Um, I can sit here and entertain myself by talking all day long about whatever I think about. and hopefully couple drop a couple of nice words in there, helpful tips while I'm rambling. But I want you to know that I am accessible. Um, Other than writing books and doing occasional fiber arts and going on once a month or so dates with my partner and hanging out with my friends, I don't have anything else to do than talk to you, right? I This is part of what I do. I write and I help other people write and get their words out there. And I have done this in the music industry. I have done this in the fiber arts industry, and I will continue to do it in the writing community because we need each other. We need to be here for each other. I would feel remiss and I would feel really shitty about not being that kind of person. And if I don't have whatever it is that you need, like I said, I'll help you find who does. I hope that you do the same for other people too. You know, that's again, like I said, it's our responsibility as artists, as creative people to help other people find that spark and show it, produce it for the world to also enjoy and take part in because we need that. I can tell that I've been talking for a long time now because my voice is starting to get a little froggy, which it's good for me because I only have about 9 minutes left. So if you do have questions or comments or whatever, you better get them into the chat. Um, I know there are a couple of people watching. I can see that. So, I mean, if you don't have anything to say, that's okay. But I want to make sure that you know that, again, I will answer your questions. I will talk to you, and don't be afraid to ask them. If you don't want to ask them in chat, you can also drop me an email and do it that way. You can either message me through my Ko-fi or you can email directly at christiank@gmail.com. That's my author address. And I'm happy if you just let me know what it is that you wanted to ask. I'm happy to help you. Let's see. Well, I don't have much time left. So let's talk about where you can find me next. Besides author office hours, mm, I have to burp. It's very, very genteel of me. This is one problem with lemonade for some reason, just makes me burpy. Um, July 11th through 13th, I will be taking part in the annual Right Hive conference, which is a conference for writers, publishers, people who are putting out books to get together, and there's tons of panels and there are workshops and there are presenters, and I am going to be in a panel about how to self-publish on a budget, which is something I talk about a lot. And I really had it's pre-recorded. I had a really great time doing it. It was so much fun. And the great thing about it being pre-recorded is that if you join the conference, which is free, if you join the conference, then there's a Discord where we will all be hanging out, including the people on the panel, and we will answer questions live while the panels is running. Um, you can join up in the conference at Right Hive, righthive.org. Hold on, let me get it. Righthivecon.org. So like write it out, hivecon.org, and I will put the link in the information for this after the fact. You can sign up there. Like I said, it's free. And I think that if you are an aspiring writer or you're already published, this is a really great event for you to join. There are panels on every dang thing, and there are so many people who I respect and I know that will be on panels there. You will come away with great information. I know I'll be taking lots of notes. And as always, I will share panel notes after the fact with you. My panel notes won't be as cohesive as they often are because this was a panel where we actually really just riffed off of each other tremendously. It was a really, really comfortable panel for me. I think you're going to enjoy it. And let's see, after that, I'm going to be, if you're local, on July 18th, I will be vending books and also some Fae inspired jewelry and other goodies at the uh, Greater Goods Night Market, which is happening at our house in Remington, and that is happening from 6 to 10, I believe. If you check on my website in my events section, it's in there and all the information is there. And that's another free event. You can come hang out. I'll be next to my friend Stacy at Amity Intentional Healing, and she'll be reading tarot, and I will be talking about books and Fae and Baltimore and why I love it and whatever else you can get me to ramble on about. Just come and say hi. If you have my books already, that's cool. I'd still want to see your face because I miss people. Let's see. After that, the next thing I have on the schedule is another local event. That's August, and that is the book fair at Bel Air, which is August 23rd, I believe. And more information about that is also in the events tab at my website, christianeknight.com. I invite you to please, if you're local or can get down here, to come to both of those events because they're lots of fun. Book fair at Bel Air is amazing. It is authors from around the area in all different genres, but there are some really cool authors that are going to be there this year. Um, it including, I mean, there's just books on every topic. There's romance, there's science fiction, there's fantasy, there's horror, there's children's books, um, just everything. I mean, so many different genres. And again, it's free and it's fun. They have a really good collection of children's stuff. So if you have kids, bring them down for that too. Um, Other than that, I don't know what else I have on the schedule. I think that's it for now, but I'm sure other things will be coming up. We have like Flights of Foundry will be happening in September, I think. And there's just always new stuff coming up. Usually, if there's a panel, I will raise my hand for it because I like to talk and I really enjoy doing them. It's just so much fun. I like to get to meet new authors. Oh, that's the other thing. Strong Women, Strange Worlds is coming back on July 17th. I am not reading, but because I'm a volunteer for them, this is what do I do is I look for audience to come and join us. And I really get so much out of Strong Women, Strange Worlds. I have been introduced to so many new authors. Um, they focus on women and non binary authors exclusively. And some of them you will know the famous names and other ones you won't. And they're all fantastic. Lots of it's a mix of science fiction, fantasy, and horror, and occasionally poetry, which is always a delight. And I have never come away without having at least one new read that's on my TBR list and lots of connections because everybody's super nice and chatty. The chat during that is really fun. Everybody enjoys the books loudly as they're being read from. And as an author, it's a really affirming place to write to read because you feel really seen there. And it affects the authors. You can see that they very much enjoy reading. So that's another thing. You can sign up for that at strongwomenstrangeworlds.weebly.com. I believe that's the thing. But again, I'll put the link in after this goes up, so you can get that. And also, I talk about it on my website, so you can get there too. But we're getting to the end of this. I have like a minute left. Um, all I'm gonna say to wrap everything up is if you join me here live, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. If you're watching this after the fact, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. If you have any questions after this is over with, you can still drop them in the chat. I will see them. Or, like I said, you can email me either through my Ko-fi, which is ko-fi.com/Three Ravens Press, all one word. Or you can email me at christiank@gmail.com and I will be happy to answer your questions. You can join me here the next time. I don't have office hours schedule for the next one up yet, but I'll let you know as soon as I have that, or you can, subscribe to me here, and you'll get a notification that I will be going live. I'm gonna make sure that I have those so that they're set up so you get that notification, and then you can sign up so that it'll pop up a little alert when it happens. So cool, technology. Um, Otherwise, if you're interested in reading my books and have not done so yet, you can find out about all of them at christianeknight.com/books. I'm available wide, so you can get me on KDP, you can get my books on, um, Amazon, on, Barnes& and Noble, through, geez, everything. I mean, just everything. My brain is just like, "Huh, places, go them. My books are there, all online." Um, or you can request them through your library, hint, hint. Um, yeah, that's really all I have to say. ChristianeKnight.com. Go check it out. And thank you again for listening to me ramble. Please go out and support an artist, an author, a musician today. And I hope I get to chat with you next time during office hours. Thanks so much.